Hey everybody, welcome back to chapter 29 of Fallout Equestria. Okay,
I'm
let's go.
sorry, I yelled back, bursting into tears. I fucked up. It was horrible. I'm sorry. God dang it, little Pip. Clemmy growled back angrily. Your curiosity is gonna get you killed one of these days, and today you nearly took all of us along with you. I'm sorry, Calamity snorted, glowering as I broke into sobs. Velvet Remedy trembled, huffing as she got to her feet, and moved closer to me, pulling herself onto the cot with a painful effort. Okay, Calamity insisted. Ground rules. From now on, you don't play with one of them things unless you're on the ground, out of combat, somewhere safe. And you have one of us watching over you. Having laid the law, Calamity allowed his expression to soften. His own utter exhaustion finally showed through his eyes. He gently wrapped me with one wing. The two of them stayed with me until the tempest passed. Now buck up, little Pip, Calamity finally said, prodding me with his wing. You gonna have a look at that safe or not? I nodded, although for the first time I really didn't feel right about allowing my curiosity to be sated. I slid slowly from the cot and looked at the floor beneath it. It was, at most, an average lock. Even in my distress, I could open it easily, with or without tools. The safe clicked open. Amongst the saddlebags worth of decayed personal effects, one item sat gleaming and unblemished by time. A statuette of Rainbow Dash. Her pose was powerful, wings spread,
Agility
and a huge
bonus?
grin was on her face. Go ahead, Calamity said softly. Take it. I know you collect those things. But don't you want it? I asked, surprised. I already got her cutie mark burned in my flanks. I figure she's already close enough to me. I nodded, then carefully reached out with my magic, experiencing a sudden surge as my magic touched the statuette. I was better. I felt like I could be better than I had ever been before. Do anything. Nimbler, more graceful. But much more than that. I was, in a word, cooler. The inscription was what Rainbow Dash inscription had to be. Be awesome. Calamity stepped out of his shack and into the oddly reddish-orange air.
For some reason, the words on the statuette "be awesome" just makes you want to watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like, oh, I love that movie. Oh, it's awesome.
He was encased in the terrifying black carapace of his old Enclave armor. The tips of his 4 Nova Surge rifles glistened wickedly. He tested his wings and the scorpion tail. Then he lowered his head and hoofed off the helmet. He looked back up, letting the smoky wind catch in his orange mane. He looked weird without his hat on. Forget it, he huffed with a stomp. I'm not going round like this. He turned and trotted back into the shack. I'd rather be shot. It took him less than a minute to shuck the armor.
Asshole, we could just paint your armor. I mean, there are power armor modifications just for it. How do you feel about Hot Rod Red? You know, I'm kind of partial to it.
Velvet Remedy wrapped it in her magic, making sure to also collect his helmet from the porch. Well, at least take it with us. You may change your mind when you see whatever forces Red Eye has around Ten Pony Tower. Fine, he grumped. I've grabbed everything I want. Let's just go. I paused. Calamity, I know you were hoping to sell a bunch of those slavers' weapons up at Ten Pony, but I really think we should give them to Ditzy Doo. You know, as a thank you for what she did for Stable 2. Velvet Remedy neighed. That would be a rather impersonal gift, little Pip, and possibly a painful one considering what the slavers have done to her. I frowned, wincing. Besides, do you really want to give New Appaloosa more weapons right now? I had to admit that I did not. Instead, Velvet Remedy looked to Calamity. Do you know anything that Ditzy Doo likes? I agree with Little Pip. we do need to give her a gift, something to show our thanks for her help. Well, Calamity thought, she likes muffins. Velvet looked shocked. Can ghouls even eat? Apparently they didn't have to, but they could. I smiled.
That would be the worst. Like, never being able to eat. That would be terrible.
Between Homage and Zenith, we had the best cooks in the equestrian wasteland. I spent most of the ride trying not to think about anything that had happened recently. I knew that if I did, I'd start crying again. Instead, I tried to focus on the discussion between the outcasts, but they delved into the internal Steel Ranger politics, and I felt my attention drifting. Night Strawberry Lemonade sat next to me, chiming into the older members' conversations at every opportunity. Strawberry lemonade, I thought, sounds delicious. I groaned, catching myself before my imagination went too far south. I needed Homage. I looked over the side of the passenger wagon. Twilight was spreading across the wasteland as we approached Fetlock. Below, I spotted the mostly collapsed ruins of that first cottage, but the wandering merchant and his mechanical owl had moved on. As we approached Fetlock, I spotted the faint column of smoke rising up from the pony hole that led us to Stable 29. More curled up from nearby drainage gates. There were no sounds of fighting. This is either very good, Steelhooves commented, or very bad. As we drew closer, a Steel Ranger moved out of the shadows. There was a flash of light. I ducked, expecting impact. But it hadn't been a weapon. It was a flare. Thank Applejack, I thought I heard Steelhooves mutter.
Is Applejack just going to be deified by the fucking outcast now? Is that what's going to... This is how fucking cults start.
Good news. I let out a breath. It was about time the equestrian wasteland threw us a break. Our luck continued to hold as we glided through the night over the Manhattan ruins. As we approached the top of Ten Pony Tower, I could see the firelights from Red Eye's camps below, ringing the tower on the ground and lighting up the Celestia line. They had taken the exterior of the 4-star station. Griffins flew in patterns around the tower, but they flew low, looking for targets on the ground. I realized with a start that Red Eye didn't know about the Sky Bandit. He knew we had a Pegasus, so he could suspect we had faster transport. But he had to allow for the possibility that we were walking, and if that were true, we'd barely be making Manhattan now if we traveled here straight from Philadelphia. We had time. We had a problem. There was an alicorn perched on the roof of Ten Pony Tower. Her shield was down, all the better to spot incoming little pips. I could shoot her. The silenced zebra rifle would more than do the trick. But the moment she went down, every alicorn in the area would know. And there was a good chance Red Eye would too. The passenger wagon lurched hard. Horse apples. Calamity grunted as we began to sink out of the sky. The spark batteries were drained, and our poor Pegasus was too exhausted to handle the sudden change in weight. He nearly fainted from the strain. We began to plummet. Frantically, I concentrated on wrapping the...
You'd think that out of fucking everything, you want to check that shit routinely. Because the second that goes out, your asses are fucking plummeting. Like, okay, I get... it's like I said, it's been such a wild ride that they're letting shit slip. Like, the stress and angsty is getting to them that they forget to check one of the most vital parts of your fucking transport. I mean, I admit, it's not like they have a maintenance team to go through it all the time, but, oh boy. That's bad. That's fucking bad.
Sky Bandit with my magic. If I could pull myself through the air, maybe I could slow or even reverse our fall. My horn flared brightly. The strain hit me like a shock, buckling my legs, reminding me that I hadn't slept in over a day. We were still falling. I pushed harder, grasping, my body trembling. A layer of overglow burst from my horn. Sparks started to shoot from its tip. The glow around the Sky Bandit became brilliant. It attracted the attention of the griffins below as we plummeted towards the patrol line. The griffin turned towards us, lifting her sniper rifle, and
Oh,
fired.
shit.
Now,
That's not good.
everyone knew we were here, but I couldn't focus on that. I was pouring.
I don't know why, but for some reason when I heard that, all I could think of was this fucking Dawn of War Soulstorm campaign with fucking Steel Rain. Look that up if you don't know what that is. It's hilarious. But, oh, shit. Now I just want Little Pip to have a bolter. Just a fucking bolt gun. Oh, that'd be cool.
Everything I had into trying to slow our descent. A second overglow wrapped my horn. Beams of light shot out of it. We began to slow. Ah, hell. Calamity moaned weakly, all but collapsed in the harness as the alicorn took off from the roof, diving towards us as she put up her shield. I screamed, somehow tapping into strength I didn't have. Be strong, be unwavering, be awesome. A third layer of overglow erupted from my horn.
That was a good use of the quotes. That was a really good use of the quotes. I like that a lot. That fills you with a sense of just awesomeness.
Horn. The sky bandit stopped abruptly, hovering in the air. Then we began to ascend. The alicorn's eyes widened as she stopped her descent. Her glowing horn began to crackle with electricity as she began to cast a lightning bolt at us. The griffin shot again. This time the bullet hit the wagon, leaving a small hole in the roof. The griffin began to reload, and was engulfed in green flame. Firelight hooted happily and swooped back up after us. Velvet Remedy tossed her shield around the sky bandit. The first bolt of lightning struck it, and the shield imploded, but it kept us from being hit. Part of my mind realized that the shock from a strike would obliterate my concentration, and we would fall to our deaths. The alicorn was flying upwards, back towards the roof, keeping a safe distance between herself and us as her horn began to crackle again with electricity. Firelight landed next to Velvet Remedy, looking proud. Zenith had shattered another flask on the floor and was stomping on it. As a second bolt lashed out, the zebra grabbed my mane in her teeth and pulled me onto her back. The powerful electrical bolt hit the sky bandit, arcing all about the metal frame. Velvet let out a ladylike squeal and collapsed. Firelight squawked and tumbled to the floor of the passenger wagon. Zenith and I remained unharmed, protected by her insulating potion. We continued to rise. There was nothing else we could do.
All the skills are
The
coming
alicorn landed
together.
back on the edge of the roof. Motes of magic began to form a ring about her, forming into eldritch darts. From somewhere on the rooftop, a lashing beam of cosmic energy struck the alicorn, rippling the shield where it pushed through to strike.
I've been watching Best Friends play Bloodborne, and ever since I watched that Let's Play, I've been rewatching it. Just the word cosmic fills me with such... ooh, man, just cosmic energy.
Strike the monster directly. The shield imploded as the alicorn was reduced to luminescent moon-colored ash.
Who the fuck shot that? I mean, okay, cosmic is the right word, because that's fucking cool, but who did that?
I floated the sky bandit onto the rooftop. Homage was waiting there for us, the alien weapon floating by her side. As soon as she...
Are you telling me that Homage might have a alien rifle? Aliens exist in the Fallout universe. You know, we know that's the thing. There's been like so much stuff, and like aliens exist. Are you telling me that Homage managed to acquire an alien rifle? I assume, maybe could be the pistol. I don't know, but that mean that aliens exist in Fallout Equestria, which I mean they exist in Fallout. Ooh. And we know that it can work in Equestria too because they have interdimensional travel. And from the comics, we know that in the comics that there are dark spirits and creatures that live on the moon. So there is life on moon. So, ooh, But still, the idea always just had this fucking alien rifle hanging out somewhere. Like, yeah, I did Mothership Zeta. It was fun. Don't know where the samurai got to. Like, oh, just fuck. This chapter's getting cool.
She saw me. She galloped into the passenger wagon and wrapped me in a big hug. Homage. I could smell her, feel her soft coat and the warmth of her body. My own body relaxed in her embrace, and once more.
Look, later. I want the calm chapter later. Right now, you gotta disable that fucking nuke. Okay. I also really like the irony that in Fallout 3, it's Megaton gets blown up by 10 Penny Tower. Now it's 10 Penny Tower that's going to get blown up because fucking New Appaloosa, which I assume is the version of fucking Megaton. Like it's a good reversal that I just got now.
I began to cry. A zebra! Homage squealed happily. Xanath cringed back as Homage offered her hoof. She doesn't like being touched, I told the sexy gray unicorn. Homage lowered her hoof and nodded. And who might you be? Xanath asked, prompting introductions. Inspiration hit me. Homage, would you allow... I paused. Could you ask DJ Pony if Xanath could spend some time at the MASEBS? Homage and Xanath both looked at me curiously. Please? I asked Homage. I'm sure it could be arranged, Homage said trustingly. I turned to my zebra friend. DJ Pony has cameras all over the equestrian wasteland. Maybe one of them has seen your daughter, or her tribe. The zebra's eyes widened. I saw a glimmer of hope. Homage smiled. Yes, please. And I'm sure I can get DJ Pony to let you peek at some of the archived footage. I'll show you how to do so, then leave you in private. She blushed a little. Little Pip and I are going to be busy, but we won't be far away. She likes spankings and bondage, Velvet told Homage in a conspiratorial, overly loud whisper. I stared at her, wide-eyed and blushing hotly.
What?
That's not true. Homage raised an eyebrow. Did you two talk about liking bondage and spankings? She asked innocently. No. I mean, yes, but... Oh. Homage feigned understanding. So, you talked to Velvet about liking bondage. No, me, but... Ah, crap. So you do like it. Homage was grinning way too much. I gave up, hanging my head and accepting the doomedness of the situation.
I completely forgot if this was ever
I
a
narrowed my eyes,
conversation.
whispering to the charcoal-coated mare.
But wait, okay, no, now you're doing it to me, okay? Now I'm the one who's losing track. There's a fucking nuke here, guys. Okay, like, god damn it, everyone's getting off track. I'm like, no, but then you got me off track. K-Cat, you're a fucking devious mind. Because, like, for a second there, I forgot that there was a nuke. Fuck. I'm usually way better at keeping track of shit.
I fantasized about you? That was before I learned you were evil. Don't worry, Homage said, wrapping a foreleg about me as she smiled, her eyes twinkling as she glanced to Velvet. Last time I learned you were multi-orgasmic. Tonight, I'm going to find out just how many you can have before you pass out. She nibbled one of my ears. Then, I'm going to find out if I can wake you up with
everybody.
One. So, some bondage might be required.
Also, is Still Hooves still with the group? Because I haven't heard anything about him. If he is, that's extra cool, because that dude is never going to have sex again. Never. That would be really fucking mean if he's there.
I felt myself flooding with heat and embarrassment. I simultaneously wanted to both let her tie me up and do whatever she desired, and to run away and hide under a rock forever. I swayed, feeling faint, and nearly fell over. Delicately, Homage maneuvered me towards the rooftop door. Wow, Xanath said, standing with the others as we walked away, her exotic voice gaining a touch of melancholy. With all your teasing, I was beginning to feel sorry for the little one. Now I just feel jealous. Yes, Velvet Remini agreed, sounding a touch stunned. So do I. She turned to Calamity. No offense. Offense? Hell, I feel jealous. Homage snickered, then turned to the others. Are you coming? I stopped, at first thinking that she was inviting them to watch. That... I couldn't possibly. No. But Homage had less cruel plans. Oh, I've arranged for the rest of you to have the same suite as before.
Me and Lil Pimp are starting to get on the same wavelength, because that was my thought at first. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, like, oh, fucking hell. You did it again, because you had the exact same thing where the reader and the character were on the exact same wavelength for only a second. Jesus, this fucking story.
It's all taken care of. Velvet, Remedy, and Calamity had taken their leave. Velvet mentioning something about dragging the poor Pegasus buck to the spa. Homage, Zenith, and I were left alone in the room with the huge alicorn water fountain. As physically exhausted, emotionally gutted, and achingly horny as I was, I couldn't seek attentions for my needs until the others had been met. First came getting Zenith set up in the emergency broadcast station. Zenith's eyes went even wider as she took in the walls of monitor screens. Many still flickered and suffered from distorted images, but I saw all of them were working. This is amazing, the zebra breathed. What is this place?
Please state.
Homage told her, adding, the images you see here from the Spire Towers like the one in Philadelphia. Until just 3 days ago, the ones from Philadelphia were dark. Red Eye is using that tower for something and it was keeping me from getting a signal. But thanks to Little Pip, DJ Pony now has eyes into the heart of Slaver territory too. Homage gave Zenith a sympathetic and hopeful smile. We'll finally be able to start doing some real good out there. The zebra nodded. For the next hour,
Man, all I can think of is like if there was like a real military group other than the shitholes of steel. Oh, I'm being too mean. I need to calm down and stop being mean to them. They're not all bad. But if there was like another like military group, like a NCR or some other faction, like you could like use that to coordinate strikes on Red Eye. Like that'd be great for like command and control stuff, you know?
Homage instructed the zebra in the camera controls and accessing the archives. Zenith took it in with difficulty. In the meantime, I mostly just watched. In Homage's home, I finally felt safe. I was no longer on edge, no longer running or fighting, and my body kept trying to fall asleep. I did, however, manage to get a promise of muffins from both of them. Ditsy-Doo would soon be getting the biggest and best muffin delivery in the history of the equestrian wasteland. Then, finally, Homage and I were alone together in the foyer, standing next to the fountain. And what shall I do with you, my wasteland heroine? Homage purred. First,
Hug.
I mean. Homage, I said reluctantly. We need to talk. Oh my, sounds serious. I nodded. Falling to my haunches, I began to talk. I started with the truth about Steelhoofs and Chief Grimstar, apologizing profusely for having not told her sooner. Homage's expression was troubled but forgiving. Then, I told her of Red Eye and the Mega Spell. We have to evacuate the tower, I said finally. Quickly and stealthily.
Where the fuck are you going to go? Oh, there's the underground passage, ain't it? But that's full of ghouls. And all her equipment is there. She needs that shit. Can't you, like, find the Okay. Well, let's see where this goes first.
We can't leave Tenpony Tower, Homage said, shaking her head. I know they have you surrounded, but maybe with the Sky Bandit, or through the tunnels, I fretted. It can't be impossible. Homage shook her head again. No, some of the population maybe, but even then, I can't leave here. We can't let Red Eye take this place. Look, I know DJ Pony's important, but he's not as important as your life. She couldn't understand that, of course. But I had seen the gardens of Equestria. I knew. Then you seriously underestimate the need for a voice of truth and hope in this ruined world, Homage told me. DJ Pony gives the ponies of the equestrian wasteland the warnings and advice they need to survive. But more than that, he gives them comfort and the hope they need to make surviving worthwhile. I looked away and nodded, feeling ashamed. She was right. And while I would say that DJ Pony is the most vital thing we need to preserve and protect here, he is not the only treasure in this tower. I looked up in surprise. This was new. Homage brushed my hair tenderly, even as her own blue mane fell into her eyes. Little Pip, love, she said, the words shooting thrills through me, igniting desires and dreams. Tenpenny Tower was a prominent hub for the Ministry of Arcane Sciences. It's not a hotel or a mall. There are secrets here. Secrets? I asked, that damnably curious pony in my head perking at the mere idea. What sort of secrets? I could tell Homage was debating whether or not to tell me, but only for a moment. Little Pip, did you ever wonder how I could stay here, DJ Pony's public assistant, when the stuffy lot in this place despises him so? I had to admit, the question had never occurred to me. There is a secret society within Tenpenny Tower. They are the ones, I dare say, who are really in charge. She backed up and looked around. There are places in this building that are sealed off from the general public, places where the Ministry's secrets played out, all manner of magical research and development. She looked at me, tossing her hair out of her eyes. You know that annoying shield spell the alicorns all have? It was developed here. I found myself looking up at
Please tell me Little Pip will get the shield spell. Or Velvet, whatever. Just please.
the age-darkened bronze statue, the alicorn in the room. And you haven't seen how powerful that spell can get if you pump enough power into it, Homage told me. The only reason the alicorn shields can be punched through with the right firepower is because they can't manifest it at anywhere near full power. Actually, I said, remembering the supercharged alicorn from Philadelphia crater flying through the building, her shield tearing apart walls and supports. I think I have. Homage bade me to tell her about it. Once I was done, she nodded, visibly shaken. I think you're right, she admitted. Homage continued. In the weeks before the end, one of the other hubs in the Ministry of Arcane Science cracked some sort of sub-spell that they used to enhance the shield spell, she continued. And not make it more powerful, but make it so that specially designated ponies could pass through the shield as if it wasn't there. They started creating enchanted shield generators, placing them inside rooms or sections of buildings they wanted secure. With that, Homage hopped up onto the fountain's rim and tapped her right forehead rhythmically on the alicorn statue. I gasped as the horn flared with magic, and the glowing aura of a magical shield swept over the walls. The MASEBS and Twilight's Athenium are amongst Tenpenny Tower's sealed areas, she said with a smile. To the population below, DJ Pony has always been a strange hermit living in part of the tower that no pony can get to, always dealing with the outside world through intermediaries. My jaw dropped. Once started, the only way to turn the shield off was from inside, and the only ponies who could get inside were those designated by the sub-spell. Bypass spells, I said, slowly reclosing my jaw. Homage gave me a quizzical look. The sub-spell, it's called a bypass. Twilight Sparkle reverse engineered it from a zebra enchantment. Like the South Bucks, I thought. Shield screens that let specific materials through my flank. Damn it. I was going to have to kill the goddess for Red Eye after all. Not only as a way to protect Homage and the ponies of Tenpenny Tower, it was the only way to keep him from taking too close a look at this place. Could we move all the ponies of the tower into the shielded areas?
Okay, we're good. Oh, fucking. Is there some Illuminati shit, cult of the atom shit going on here? Illuminati, what? whatever the fuck Fallout has as secret societies. Oh. What else is hidden here? Plasma weapons? Wait, have plasma weapons been seen yet? I know laser weapons have. What about plasma ones? No, wait, there was that plasma gun back at Junction R17? Was it 17? I don't know. Lil Pip, you're starting to fight bigger and bigger monsters. You're going to have to move up from projectiles to lasers, and then from lasers to plasma. Because that's the progression in both XCOM and Fallout. You ever think about that? How the weapon progression in XCOM and Fallout are actually the same. You have your slug throwers, then you sometimes move on to plasma, or not plasma, lasers, and then finally plasma. Granted, in Fallout you don't have to. You could like soup up your skills and now your weapons with mods to the point where like you can still rock a slug thrower and win, but it's still interesting. Think about that weapon progression now. Anyways, like, okay, maybe Lil Pip doesn't. Maybe she doesn't have the skills to disable the bomb. You know, like maybe she doesn't have the science skill necessary. Or would it be arcane skill now? I don't know. Fuck it. I'll stop being clever. Strangely enough, I think Red Eye is the lawful evil variety, so I think he would keep his word. I don't know. I guess Lil Pip has to kill the goddess now. Wonder what the hell. What would that do to the hive mind alicorns? Would they become feral beasts? Well, that might actually make them easier to fight if they're feral, because then they're not really planning or strategizing.